When a company starts missing targets or losing its best people, the instinct is usually to blame individual employees. But human error is rarely the root cause. Much like a finely tuned watch, a single grain of sand in the gears will stop the entire machine. The failure isn't the gear itself, it's the environment it operates in. Organizational development, or OD, is a planned, system-wide strategy designed to increase overall effectiveness. It relies on a foundation of mutual trust and respect to evaluate how teams function from the ground up, aiming for long-term health rather than a quick fix. This chart shows the action research formula. It starts with raw inputs moving into the central process phase. That effort generates tangible outputs. A constant feedback loop connects results back to the inputs, allowing the system to adapt. By relying on this continuous, data-driven cycle, leadership can move past reacting to daily symptoms and start engineering permanent structural health. But before any real work begins, a practitioner has to figure out what is actually broken. This initial phase is called entering. It requires digging past the presenting symptoms to identify the core issue, and then pinpointing the specific departments or teams, the client system, that need to be involved. Once the target is acquired, the process moves into contracting. This is the formal handshake. The organization and the OD practitioner must clearly define mutual expectations, map out the timeline, secure the necessary resources, and get the job done. During this handshake, establishing strict ground rules is essential. If employees don't believe their feedback will remain confidential, they won't share accurate data. Without accurate data, the entire intervention is likely to address the wrong problem. If the contracting phase is rushed, the intervention may begin with a misaligned diagnostic scope. This creates a disconnect where the practitioner addresses a surface symptom while the core structural issue remains untouched. With a boundary set, we move to diagnosis. In OD, diagnosing a problem is a systematic search for root causes within the corporate environment. The goal is to understand how the work is structured, looking at the system as a whole to see where friction is occurring. This open systems model is our macro-level lens. Look left. Organizations draw inputs directly from the environment and industry structure. They don't operate in a vacuum. These inputs hit the transformation phase, the central pentagon, where strategy, HR, and measurement systems process external pressures. If those internal design components are properly aligned with the external reality, the result is high productivity and stakeholder satisfaction. The outputs are a direct reflection of the system's design. Zooming in from the macro level, practitioners apply the same rigorous diagnosis to smaller groups. Here, the focus shifts to assessing team norms, untangling relationship issues, and ensuring everyone actually understands their collective goals. Zooming in even further to the individual level, the analysis gets highly specific. We look at job autonomy, whether an employee completes a whole piece of work, known as task identity, and the variety of skills their role requires. To fix these micro-level issues, practitioners balance two approaches. Diagnostic OD identifies structural flaws, like a poorly designed workflow. Dialogic OD assumes problems are subjective, focusing instead on reshaping how people experience their work through better dialogue and shared meaning. Even a robust corporate strategy will struggle to gain traction if the individual job designs and team communication channels remain broken. Knowing what's wrong is entirely different from successfully fixing it. Implementing systemic change first requires creating organizational readiness. You have to break the hold of existing corporate habits before addressing technical and cultural resistance. This process is best explained by Kurt Lewin's classic three-step model. First, you unfreeze the current behaviors. Next, you move the organization to the new systems. Finally, you refreeze the new norms to ensure the updated practices stick. The actual actions taken during that move phase are called interventions. These are specific, planned activities engineered to resolve the exact problems found during the diagnosis. To work, an intervention cannot be forced. It must be built on valid information, offer employees a degree of free choice, and generate genuine internal commitment. These activities generally target one of four areas: human resources, organizational strategy, the internal structure, or human processes. Sustainable change depends on the physical and psychological realignment of how people work. Success is found when new systems integrate into the organization's daily routines. To navigate this realignment, practitioners rely on established frameworks. Tools like the McKinsey 7S model, Wiseboard's 6-box model, and the Nadler-Tushman congruence model provide structured ways to categorize the different facets of a struggling business. Today, modern data analytics and digital platforms are changing how these frameworks are applied. We can now track communication flows and process bottlenecks in real time, moving beyond static surveys. These digital tools allow practitioners to turn abstract theories about company culture into objective metrics. This creates a clearer picture of how a system actually operates compared to relying on anecdotal feedback alone. Once the structural flaws are fixed, the organization needs a philosophy to maintain its new health. That philosophy is Total Quality Management, or TQM. It is dedicated to continuous improvement, or Kaizen, and the goal of achieving zero defects. This chart highlights how thinking has evolved. The old quality was narrow, focused strictly on technical products and driven by inspectors. The new quality is an organization-wide mandate. It is strategic, involves everyone, and is actively led by management to ensure ongoing improvement. We can even see quality defined mathematically here. Quality, or Q, equals the performance of the product divided by the expectations of the customer. To maintain that high Q score, TQM has to be applied simultaneously across 3 distinct tiers: the overarching organizational level, the process level, and down to the individual job. Organizational development provides the structural corrections necessary to repair a system, while TQM acts as the ongoing protocol to maintain those standards. Together, they transition a company from a state of crisis to one of consistent long-term performance.